Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter. And as you can see, I've got my gel plate out. You know I love doing my gel plate as well as other things, but I really like my gel plate. Now, I thought this video I would offer myself a personal challenge. Now, if you follow me and subscribe to me, and 90,000 of you have done it, thank you so much for that. That's such a boost to my confidence, and to know there's a good community around me. I love that. Anyway, I digress. You will know I like color. I mean, I use color a lot. I combine colors. I take risks with color. I do color. And I thought, you know what? Why don't I take color away from myself and see if I can still do a background? So guess what? We're using white and black. Now, I'm going to allow myself a little bit of a caveat. I can mix the two to make gray. That's not breaking the rules as far as I'm concerned, and there are no rules to art anyway. And then I think, because if I was creating a background, I would normally add a final element into it. And I think what I'm going to do is, if I see fit or if I think it's appropriate, I'm probably going to use a metallic. And if I use a metallic, it would either be silver, gold, or maybe like a graphite color. So nothing that goes into like reds and greens and blues and yellows. It will be a pretty basic, I think, no, I was going to say copper, but actually no, copper is too red for me. So I'm going to stay probably with gold because it's my favorite. So I've got my 12x12 gel press. I've got my 5x7, which I use as a palette, and you know I've done that a million times. I've got 250 GSM cardstock here. Someone did ask me where I get my cardstock. I literally just buy it when I'm at craft shows or online. I just look for 12x12 cardstock. Sometimes I look at scrapbook paper cardstock, if that makes sense, because those websites tend to have 12x12. It isn't really a brand. Let me see if I can find the label. Okay, this is the only packaging I have. They come in cellophane, and this is all I've got to go on. There's nothing else. There's no website, no nothing. This is how I buy it. Okay, and it comes in, it says a pack of 20. There you go. And I normally buy it, as I said, in craft shows, wherever I see it, although I have bought it online. So now there's one other thing I'm going to do with this, and that is I've got an envelope full of shapes that I've cut out of plastic. Like, I've used a die cutting machine to cut those. These I just freehand cut. That one's never been used, obviously. Just shapes that I've cut out of like sheets of acetate or stuff like that. Or sometimes when you get presents, like if a man, like I've received in the past, a shirt and tie combo in a box. It's got a big clear panel on the front. I'll take the panel and cut it into stuff like this, just using up scraps. So I'm going to try and be slightly abstract in this as well, in that I've got to be a bit clever about blocking colors out. So first of all, I think I want the background to be gray. Now, I did hum and ha whether to leave the background white. But that wouldn't have satisfied me. Oh, circle up when this one finishes. That wouldn't satisfy me because I wouldn't want the raw card showing. So I'm just going to mix black and white together here. And I want quite a light grey, but I want it to be grey. So and I also don't mind if it's a little unmixed on the plate, but I don't want it to be blotchy per se. I think I want a little more white with that. Any spare paint will get used, obviously. And I've got a clean-up sheet with me, which this is kind of what inspired me to choose the color combo. Well, now there's another thing. I'm using the word color when it comes to black and white. Well, one is the absence of all color and one is all colors. So sometimes I get a bit confused with that. I tend to think of colour in terms of light and how much they bounce back. I think that's a pleasant enough colour. I've probably got far too much paint here, but as I said, I can always do a pull-up on that other sheet. I don't want to be starting to... Oh, I've got a grey bottle and put it into. Give me 1 second. I do have a grey bottle. It's a bit of a mixed bottle, so if I've got spare, I can put it in there. Right, let's get this rolled out. Yes, this is kind of, I mean, I could have gone a little bit lighter again. But I don't know, this feels sort of the right colour grey to me. I do like black and white photography. I like black and white imagery. So it's no surprise really that I want this. Now this has sort of, I can see a sort of reddish tinge to this. So when you use black, of course, you never 100% get the black that you're expecting when you start putting white onto it, because black is made up of so many other pigments, in my limited knowledge, made up of so many other pigments. It's like I've seen where you can add black to other colors and you get a really nice green, just things like that. So just be aware that just because it starts off as black doesn't mean it's going to make a pure grey. I'm probably confusing the issue by trying to explain it more, so I'm gonna shut up at this time. Right, I think that's okay. Let's leave that up there and get this cleanup sheet in on the go. Now, I don't know how long this process is going to take. So if you see like transitions where it fades in, fades out, or I use the swipe transition a lot, if you see that, that's usually because I've edited out, like cleaning up, like I'm going to put this in this bottle in a minute. I will probably edit that out because you don't need to waste time watching me putting paint into a bottle. You're all far familiar with paint being put into a bottle and you don't need to see me doing it. I'm probably going to keep this sort of stuff in though, because as you all know, the cleanup sheets turn into something amazing. Maybe not in the same video, but I like to keep you abreast of the, what was I going to say, the progression. Right, let me get this sorted out and then I'll be back. There you go, all cleaned up. Now, I think it's worth saying at this point that grey is a wonderful neutral. I very often will photograph my stuff upon it because if you're photographing and you use a grey background, the colour balance tends to work perfectly in representing the colours of any articles you sit on top. And also, grey is one of those colours that will go with, I would say, any other colour. So just be aware of that. Let's put that behind me, actually. So now the question is, what do I want to do as my next layer? Now, I've obviously got the choice of black or white. Now, if I do white, the black will go over it when I do the next layer. If I do black, the question is, will the white be solid enough to go over the black? Opaque enough, I mean. So I think I should do white next, shouldn't I? Ooh, what's white gonna look like up against grey? I think it's gonna look okay, actually. I wasn't planning on doing a black print, but hey ho, let's do white. Decision made, Mr. Man. And then I'm gonna pull out all of these because the process will be, I'm gonna have to work relatively quick because I don't have open paints. And for those of you who are not familiar with that term, an open paint means it's got an extender to it in it, so it will actually take longer to dry. Whereas if you're using without an extender, depending on the atmosphere, the weather conditions, where you live in the world and which paint you're working with, it can dry quicker. Right? I quite like these organic shapes. So let's pull these up, pull circles over to one side. Ooh, bit of a leaf shape. Let's just pull these out. Now I may want to add other shapes when it comes to the next layers, but as I'm doing white, I'm going to pull these out and just leave them to one side. The tricky bit is going to be lifting them back off the plate. Now I'm going to put my white directly onto the plate because I don't need to mix it as a colour. I'm doing a reasonably large amount of paint, and I'm doing that because I'm going to braid this out on a 12 by 12. Then I'm going to take time to place the masks down that I've cut, and then I'm going to lay the paper with the grey on it over the top. So I want to make sure I've got enough working time I mean, I'm not really panicking. It's autumn here. Well, to be honest with you, the way the temperature is, it feels more like winter to me. But let's just spray the spare off on there because I can pick that up later. I want a nice even coating of it. Now, you may have noticed when I did the grey layer that I actually did come back in and try and do some repair work on the white edges of my 12 by 12. That's because I've had this 12 by 12 gel plate a very long time, and in that time it's distorted slightly. So I'm going to end up with white edges eventually. I'm going to put these out. I'm going to try and put anything I can just so it goes slightly to the edge. If I've got that option, like if it's got a cut off edge, it'll make it easier to pick up. Not that it's essential, but it does sometimes help. Right. Let's use some of the ones I've never used before because that will give me a layer of paint on them. I don't want that one. I quite liked that, but it looks like an autumn leaf. I'd rather go for shapes that are not necessarily recognizable. Let's put that up there. Wonder whether I could get away with putting this, or should I put that one up there? Right, so I've got everything down there now. I need to, where's a 12 by 12? I need to put this down carefully. And what I need to do is just press it gently from behind. I want it to be in contact. I don't want it sliding around. If it slides around on the plate, you basically ruined it. So I'm going to use a Baron. This is a Baron. It's a solid wood Baron. I'm going to hold my paper and push down gently. This Barons were originally manufactured, I believe, for the printmaking industry, as in ink printing. However, we've really well adopted them here in the gel plate industry. I find I'm 66 in 2 months' time, and I was finding over time, working a lot on the gel plate, I would first of all have dry palms to my hands, and it would cause me pain here after a day of it, not immediately. And I found because this has got weight, I don't have to push down too hard. And also, as you can see, my wrist is straight instead of kinked. You can get Barons in quite a lot of places. This one was created, it was carved by a wood artist called Anthony Cody of Cody Woodcrafts on Etsy in America. And it's lovely, and I love it. Right. So I think that's down there long enough. Let's see if I can just lift this up and hope I've got some reasonably good results. Oops. I nearly dropped. Oh, that's good. And I actually like the texture it's left behind as well. Right, now looking at that, I can pick that up again with my clean off sheet. That'll just get the ghost print done. I think I need to get another piece of paper actually to pick this up with. So I've got paint on the go. I might as well start another cleanup sheet. The paper I use for doing my cleanups is newsprint offcut paper. I want to say I bought this on eBay. It's extremely inexpensive and I love it. It does, as you can see, it does pull paint. It's reasonably robust, but I wouldn't use it with overly wet paints because it acts a little bit like gift wrap tissue. If it gets too wet, it sort of kind of dissolves or starts to fall to pieces. But in this scenario, putting it down, picking it up is a perfect way to use this. And then eventually, as the paint builds up on it, it gets more integrity. And I use them as backgrounds in my art journal, on my art journal pages. So I think that's enough. Let's take that on the side. Right, so I might have left this down too long. If this tears, it'll be a perfect example of what happens if it gets too wet. Well, I think I've got away with it, said he famous last words. Yeah, I got a little bit of it. Oh, just lay out. The piece came off with it. Right, you can go up there. Yeah, as you can see, it just pulled the top layer off. That's because I'd left it down too long. but nothing missing there. I don't mind that. So I'm going to have to take these off. And I didn't actually think, oh, I can actually use that new piece to pick this up with, can't I? Get that off there. So I'm going to let these dry fully before I put them back into my packaging or my plastic envelope. You could wash them, you could wipe them. I don't. I actually quite like the fact that over time these build up a visual texture all of their own. I mean, you could do the same thing with cardboard. You could do it with paper, but I would say don't do it with copier paper, because I don't think copier paper is probably robust enough to put up with what you'd have to do. Let's pull that one off there with my fingernail. Right, all of those are off there. Let's come in with that new sheet that I created. Probably get a couple of pulls off this. Yeah, I love creating cleanup sheets. In fact, I probably like creating cleanup sheets more than I like creating backgrounds. Right, we're going to come in with this chewing gum paint, as I've started calling it. And I don't need as much paint as I put on with the white. But I do need to move quickly because black is one of the paints that dries exceedingly quickly for me. So there's a fair bit of paint down here, but it's not a huge amount of paint. I mean, yeah, this tube of paint, I've never had a problem with any of the Pebeo Studio paints before, but this one tube of paint, I have no idea what it is. It's like a combination between chewing gum and toothpaste. It's a very, very bizarre thing. Now, I know I'm probably going to get some visual texture again. That doesn't bother me. Just clean this off on there. So I just want to clean a little bit more off here. I don't want to go so thin that it's not going to cover the white and the grey, but I need to do something. Right, now I'm not going to bother where these go. I'm just going to pop them on the plate. Where they fall is where they fall. I quite like some of the squares in here more. I am going to set them vertical and horizontal to a certain degree. Okay, I mean, that one's not exactly set perfectly straight, but you know what? It's fine in that instance. Let's just get a couple of, oh, apparently that one's going there. It doesn't matter if they overlap. That might be fun there. And I quite like something on the edge there. Right, so I've got my basics down. So we're going to come in, and again, I'm going to put this down carefully. When it's in place, I'm just going to press it down with the palms of my hands to make sure I've got a semblance of contact. Now, I'm also going to hold this in place as I work with my Baron, or work with your hand, whichever you're doing, because there's a lot of the area underneath this that's not in contact with the paint, because of course we've got the plastic masks over it. So it does mean it's likely to move around unless I'm a little bit careful with it. I think that's probably stuck down enough. I'm just going to come in with my fingers. I want to make sure that I'm really going down in here, especially like where the picture frames are. I want to make sure we're dealing with the thickness of card here, pushing down into the aperture of the mask. And I'm hoping to goodness it's working. Now I could peel this back slightly and have a look to see if it's working, but you know what? I like the surprise. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's not something I usually worry about, because that just adds another layer to creativity. If I've got to deal with a problem, then that gives me another opportunity to create in a different way. Right, I think that's probably all fully down. I'm absolutely certain it is. Right, let's just go for gold here, guys. Oh, I'm loving that. Look at that. That's fierce. Absolutely loving that. Right, now I've got stuff down here, so... And I'm just going to wipe it and pull it, because I mean, this piece of paper is 15 by 15, whereas the plate is 12 by 12. So I don't mind if there's like, almost like a collage, not collage, a camouflage effect happening on this. It's all interesting to me. That's what I'm trying to get at. Right, this is getting a little bit soft now, this paper, and that's pretty much because I haven't dried the paper in between. I haven't given it a chance to do that. So this one's going to go on the floor behind me. I'll bring it back in at the end if I remember, but there you go. This is how this is looking. I'm going to clean all of this up because we won't need this plate anymore, because all I'm going to be doing now is putting some detail onto that background. So I can get rid of this, clean everything, and before we start the next stage, I'll show you a couple of the cleanup sheets that I've been building up. And I'm back, and as promised, here's a bit of a bonus, guys, just because I know this video isn't going to be hugely long, because the whole process was only, what, black, white, and a grey. So while it's drying behind me, these are the cleanup sheets so far, and these are what I turn into backgrounds in my art journal. I mean, they're lovely. I mean, I've got this thing that maybe one day I'll do fabrics, because some of these would make incredible fabrics if I wanted to. This one feels like it needs something else. I need to relook at that one. Some of these would make great fabrics, as I was saying, especially for quilting and stuff like this. I mean, look at this. This is beautiful. I love this. So there's a bit of a pile of these building up. That one needs a little bit more, but I keep them to one side, and then, like with this one, like that was a new stamp block I made the other day, and I was just testing it out, but by testing it out, it had a purpose. I didn't just waste the paint. Again, this could probably do with something, but they build up. They build up over time. And once they're ready, like this one, this I would say is probably not very me at all, but you know what? I had fun doing it. And then just as an example, this is an art journal by, I can't say what that word, Talons, I think it is, Art Creative. It's an inexpensive art journal, but as you can see, look, that I've done the backgrounds, and this is literally that newspaper print paper put down. I love that one. You might have seen this one in a video. I've done more than that, I think. There you go, there's another one. I want to do some more stamping in there, don't know what yet. And then this one, I mean, wouldn't that like make a fabulous fabric? So anyway, I digress. So here we are. Now, I quite like this as it is. I mean, I could just not add anything to it, but I do feel I want something to make it go pop. And I am going to use gold. And I'm going to use this gold by Pebeo 350, my favorite gold. Now, some of you will go, but Ceri, it's lovely. Yes, it is lovely. And I agree with you, it's lovely, but I want just a little bit more on here. I proved to myself that yes, I can work with just black and white and make a very nice print, thank you very much. But I want to come in and I want to put some gold into this. And I'm going to use one of my own foam stamp designs. It's called Grungy Lines. You could use any mark making you want if you want to try and replicate this. So I'm just going to put some gold down. Brayer the gold out. You don't want too thick of a coat on your gel print, on your gel plate, because it'll build up within the lines of stuff. So I'm going to come in, tap it down. You can easily see when you're using a color that's not black, how much coverage you're getting on this. And then I'm going to come in. I'm just going to place it down to give it a gentle press. I don't bash it, I just gently press it down, just to give it a real nice contemporary look. Trying to see where I will put it. I don't really have a plan. I'm just following my gut instinct as to where to put it down. This needs something over here. And I think I could come in there. Over here might need something too. Try not to avoid the middle, Because you know what I'm like, guys. You know what I'm like. But I think I'm just going to do the odd little bit coming in from the edge now. And I've got an edge down here that is where the paint didn't go to. So I'm just going to use the edge of this just to fill in that little bit there, because that will help me there. This feels like it needs something down here. I think I could do with one of these. I think this looks a little weird here to me, so I can just put just the edges of something. And using the same logic here, just a little bit of interest. Okay, I think we're going to call that done. I'm going to turn off the video because I want to use this up on some of those backgrounds I've just shown you. One or two needed more. And then I'll get this right. I'll come back and we'll do a last close-up look. And here I am back. And I must admit, guys, I surprised myself. I'm so happy with this. You have no idea how happy I am. And that was just a lesson for me, I suppose, on just stripping it back to going back to the absolute minimum I could, black and white with a touch of gold. I think the gold was a good idea. You may not think so, but you know what? If I'd have made two of them, I would have made one with gold and one without gold. But I like this. This is just, in my opinion, humble opinion though it is, I think this is a magnificent make and fairly simple, I would say. I mean, it was just a case of put the paint down, put the masks down, put the paper down, pull it up, and then repeat and repeat for the other two times. And I'm loving this texture here. And that was because I had quite a bit of paint on the plate, and that's where that came up from. I really love that. Now, I'm obviously not abandoning colour totally. I mean, this will launch on 29th, Thursday the 29th, I think this will go live. And then on the Saturday, the 1st of November, I'll be doing colour combo. So I'll be back with 3 colours, black, white, and a metallic there. So look out for that one. Thank you for this, guys. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm ecstatic at this. I need to do this more often. I wonder what it would like if it wasn't black and white. Say it was, think Griffiths, think. Orange and purple, because they're contrasts. Green and red. That was incredibly Christmas, though, wouldn't it? But this was fun. This was really, really fun. I really enjoyed that, guys. So thanks very much for your patience, and I will see you in the next one. I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri the Crafter. Until next time, goodbye now.